Hello and welcome back to another video. This is block 13. This block is called the Crystal Star and it's another one from the Generations quilt site. I've fussy cut a picture of one of the fabrics in the middle, which if you can fussy cut on this one. Very easy to do. I am doing the 4, 6 and 8 inch block. I've only got 3 colours, and that's pink, which is making up my flying geese, and then my background, and then my middle. So you want the ones that will make up your flying geese, and there are 8 of them, and you need to draw a line across the centre of each one. The rectangle background is the one that we're going to put the flying geese onto. Obviously there's 2 on each one, which obviously there's only 4 of those. So once you've drawn your centre across the middle, and you need to sew one on each end, forming a flying geese. Once you've sewn, then cut across the back 1/4 inch. So that's your first flying geese done, and you need to do the other 4. Take the centre, and you're going to take 4, and in my case background, and again you draw a line across the centre of each one. So you put one on one side, then you do the opposite side. Then you can cut the back, leaving a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Then you can press them out and then do the other 2 sides. So my bobbin has just jumped out, so that's the joy of sewing. So I'm just putting that back in, making sure that the bobbin holder is in the right place, and then we can continue. So that's the 2 opposites, and then I'm going to take them to the ironing board and press them out. I think you can tell I'm narrating this, can't you? Can't remember what I did. And then put 2 opposite sides on. No, I didn't take it to the ironing board. Yes, I did. Yeah, now I'm back from the ironing board and now I'm doing the 2 opposite sides. So that's side 1. Cut it 1/4 inch seam allowance, and then the other side. When I sewed the 5 inch, the very small one, I didn't bother putting drawing a line across the centre of these because it's so small you can see where your needle is going to end up. But if you're a beginner and you feel more confident in putting a line, then please do. Anything to make your life easier. So that's the centre done, and then I should be pressing that, and that's it basically. And then you just set your block, set all your blocks out in the order that you're going to sew them. And I've just picked up the 4 corner units, and you just set it out exactly the same as the picture says. So there it is, all set out ready to sew. You can do it 2 ways. You can either just go straight across the top one first, then you can do the middle one second, and then the third one, and then join them together. Or you can do the top 2, the middle 2, bottom 2, and don't cut your threads. When you start sewing together, remember that you've got points of your flying geese and points of your middle block, the square within a square. So you don't want to be chopping them off. So please be mindful when you go past them that you are going the right side of it and not taking too much of a seam allowance that you're not going to see any points when you've finished. So what I'm doing there is I've just sewn the top 2 together, and I've left them under the needle and got the middle 2. If you'll find that you're a little bit tiny short on one of your fabrics, then this is probably, because it's flying geese and square within a square, they're biased, so you do have a little bit of a stretch that you can actually make them fit by pulling them together and holding them. So you leave your middle ones under the needle again, and then you do the third one, this one. And then when you open them out, they're all together and in order, and it makes your life easier at the end of the day. And again, make sure that you're pressing to the pink. In my case, the pink. I don't know what colour you'll be using, but I think you'll find that's the centre of the top and bottom. And on the middle one, it'll be the outside. So the top one, bottom one is to the centre, and the middle one is to the outside. And then the next time you sew, you'll be sewing the top, and then the middle, then the bottom, then be able to sew them together. can't really see a lot under my needle. It's because I haven't got the overhead light on. So the light that's actually on the machine is a little bit bright and it's not being cancelled. This Nechi is a nice machine, but I do find that bobbin holder is very loose, and I have to be and it very often throws the bobbin out, and the machine stops, and I have to go back and put the bobbin case right. So I think that's a fault with this machine. So I'm not very happy about it, but obviously once you purchase something, you're stuck with it. It's a good sewer. It's got lots of little things on I do like. I like the size. I like the throat space. It's got a huge table. It's just that it's got a very sensitive bobbin case holder that's very loose. So there I am sewing the first to the second, and then you nest the seams. So once you've anchored, then you can put the first 2 seams together. And then once you've anchored that seam, then you can put the next 2. Mindful again that you're going past points. And it's probably very thick at this point because you've got quite a few layers of fabric. So just slow down over where it's really thick. And then you do your next seams where it nests, and then go to the end, and then you do the same thing joining the second to the third. It's a very cold day in Nuneaton, and as you can see, I've still got my dressing gown on. My dressing gown is so warm that I even wear it when I'm dressed. It's very expensive in England. If you're watching from abroad, it's very expensive in England at the moment for electric. So everyone is trying to save money and coming up with different ideas how to do that. And one of them is putting extra clothing on, so you don't put the central heating on. So we're just coming to the end of sewing the bottom 2 together, and then we're done. There you go. So that's the middle one sewn, and I've just chopped the head off my heron, but it still looks good. So that's them 2, and then I'm going to do the other one next. So there they are, all 3 together, all completed. I quite like this block, it's quite nice. So that's block 13. Thank you for joining me. It's called, just before I go, just remind you again, it's Generations Quilt Site, and it's called the Crystal Star. And you can do the background in any colour. I've just happened to choose all cream.